Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan, Isha Nishavatarakam, Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti, Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodito, Gaurudeye Pushpavanato, Chitro Sandau Tamonudau. Granthera Arambha Kori Mangala Charana 10.8 to 10.2 Guru Bhagavan Vishnu Tinira Smarana Hoya Vigana Vinashana Anayasa Sapal Nija Vanchita Purana Jai Jai Kripamoy Jagatiranath Sarva Jagatiro Kuru Shubha Drishtipad Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatharinam Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Dasa. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees. So we will read Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adi Lila, chapter 4. We stopped last at text number 34, reading about the confidential reasons of the appearance of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, the Chanda avatar, the wonderful incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So let's see the next verse, text 35. Bhavet kriya vidhilin se iha kaya kartavya avashya e anyatha prayatvaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here, the use of the verb bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. Purport: this imperative is applicable to pure devotees. Neophytes will be able to understand these affairs only after being elevated by regulated devotional service under the expert guidance of the spiritual master. Then they too will be competent to hear of the love of affairs of Radha and Krishna. As long as one is in the material conditioned life, strict discipline is required in the matter of moral and immoral activities. The absolute world is transcendental and free from such distinctions because there inebriety is not possible. But in the material world, a sexual appetite necessitates distinction between moral and immoral conduct. There are no sexual activities in the spiritual world. The transactions between lover and beloved in the spiritual world are pure transcendental love and unadulterated bliss. One who has not been attracted by the transcendental beauty of the rasa will certainly be dragged down into material attraction, thus to act in material contamination and progress to the darkest region of hellish life. But by understanding the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, one is freed from the grip of attraction to material so-called love between man and woman. Similarly, one who understands our and Yashoda for Krishna will be saved from being dragged into material parental affection. If one accepts Krishna as the supreme friend, the attraction of the material friendship will be finished for him, and he will not be dismayed by so-called friendship with mundane wranglers. If he is attracted by servitorship to Krishna, he will no longer have to serve the material body in the degraded status of material existence, with the false hope of becoming master in the future. Similarly, one who sees the greatness of Krishna in neutrality will certainly never again seek the so-called relief from the impersonalist or the widest philosophy. If one is not attracted by the transcendental nature of Krishna, one is sure to be attracted to material enjoyment, thus to become implicated in the clinging network of virtuous and sinful activities, and to continue material existence by transmigrating from one material body to another. Only in Krishna consciousness one can achieve the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna. So, very, very amazing verse. Just to give a brief background, we read till text 34. We were talking about that how Krishna is, then when the devotees tease him, his friends think is equal, or sometimes as a hina or even a inferior position, he likes that more. And materialistic people cannot understand this, as Srila Prabhupada is explaining. So we have to purify ourselves to understand this through the process of devotional service. Otherwise, one will draw wrong conclusion and be dragged to material conception of life. And Prabhupada so beautifully is explaining here that how, if one is attracted to Krishna as a friend, as a servant, etc., one stays in the so-called friendship, in the so-called parental, in the so-called lover, in the so-called servant, and or being a boss. All those things will go away. And if one is not attracted to Krishna, then one will be attracted to Maya. There is no like in between. So the formula to be away from Maya is to go towards Krishna, or to develop attraction towards Krishna. Now, how do we develop attraction towards Krishna? By reading about him, by hearing about him, by how do people develop attraction to materialistic people like Hollywood stars, Bollywood stars, cricket stars? They go to their matches, they talk to the friends of those who have same interest association. They read books about those people, right? Shastra. They want to take their Mahaprasad, right? If a footballer has won some, people buy it for like millions of dollars or thousands of dollars. I don't know. Like if a bat is used by a famous cricketer, won't people buy for a very high price? So the same propensities we have to dovetail towards Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you...
Yes, now Prabhu. Yes.
Sorry, there was some network issue. What did I speak last? Or where did you hear last? Like, you know what I spoke, but I'm not sure what you heard.
You were talking about like seva and all. It was breaking bits and pieces, Prabhuji, but the last, like you said, some seva or something.
I was sharing the examples, how people develop attraction to materialistic like heroes, Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, cricket stars. They want to, go to their fan clubs, association. They want to take their avashesha, like a shirt worn by a famous cricketer or soccer star. People buy it for thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. People want to read about them. People want to hear about them. So the same propensity when we dovetail towards Krishna, we will develop attraction towards Krishna. And that's why we are doing Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā to develop our attraction, to develop our dormant love to Krishna by chanting, by reading, by hearing, by serving, by taking Mahaprasad. Talking about yesterday, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, how he took the Mahaprasad of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and developed pure Krishna Prem. How he served Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and developed, pure Krishna Prem. So all these are very special, and one should not consider them as some cheap form of mundane things. All these rasas. So, any other comments anyone has before we move on? Yes, let's read the next one, 36 and 7. Anyone?
I can read, Prabhu. Dhanyavad.
Yeah, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam devotees. Ehi vancha yaiche Krishna prakatya karana asura samhara anushanga prayojana. Ehi mata Chaitanya Krishna purna bhagavana yuga dharma pravartana nahetanra kama. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity. So for Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the dharma of this age is incidental. So like, we have promotions, buy this and get one free, buy one and get something else for free, the small value. So similarly, the main reason of Krishna's appearance is these desires that was those were mentioned, and to reciprocate with devotees. But killing of the demons is just like on the side bonus. So, and thus Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is promulgating the dharma, the Yuga dharma. Back to you, Prabhu. Please add or correct. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. So to give pleasure to devotees and to kill the demons. But the primary purpose, as Mataji said, is to give pleasure to his devotees and experience those rasas we discuss, Madhurya, Vatsalya, and Sakhya, etc. So let's see. Text 38. Sudhir Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavad Pranam, all praise to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 38. Kone karana yebe haila avatara mana yoga dharma kale haile se kala melana. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arises. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so as Mataji said, the primary reason is for Lord Krishna to have love and devotion with his devotees, as in Bhagavad Gita also he says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinachaya tishta dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. So here Prabhupada is telling that the other reason is for propagating the religion and removing the religion that arose. That's my understanding. Please, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, very nice. Let's read the next one, 39. Yes, Puna Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Dui hetu avatari lana bhakta gana apne asavade prema nama sankirtana. Translation. Thus with two intentions the Lord appeared with his devotee and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So we discussed those intentions, basically to experience the wonderful rasas, Prema Rasa Aswadana, and it's actually mentioned in the text 15 and 16. Prema Rasa Aswadana, to experience the sweetness of loving devotional service, the mellows of love of God, and Raga Marga Bhakti Pracharana. Raga Marga, to give the topmost spontaneous devotional service, to do the prachar of that path, to do the basically the congregational chanting of the holy name. So yes, Nandini Mataji wanted to say something.
I just wanted to add for the last 2-3 shlokas, Prabhupada is using the word promulgating. He is not saying promoting. And Shesha Prabhu recently gave a very nice class on Prabhupada's use of language. And I just wanted to add that as a comment, that Prabhupada used these words to make the scriptures very authoritative. Promulgating means the effect of official proclamation. It's almost like declaration of independence kind of things, which are widely publicized by official way, and they are communicated throughout the provinces or places. So I just wanted to bring that to attention about that word and how Prabhupada uses to make these Caitanya-caritāmṛta and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam very authoritative books, like library, like law books, where they use like locus modi and summum bonum, like French words they use, or Latin words they use, so that it carries a lot of weight. That's all, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that important point. Okay, text number 40. Yes, Pravir Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Joy Srila Prabhupada. Text 40. Sheidare achondale kirtana sanchare namo prema malagathi parailo sangsare. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Joy Srila Prabhupada. Thus he spread kirtan even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema, with which he garlanded the entire material world. Hare Krishna. So here we heard that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was saying why Mahaprabhu came. And in the previous verses, we saw that then when Krishna came, the killing of the Asuras was incidental. And we heard also that Krishna didn't kill them actually. Vishnu dare Karen Krishna Asur Sanghare. So his Vishnu expansions they killed. And same thing here, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Mahaprabhu came, but Yugadharma Nam Sankirtan, it was just incidental. Same time it happened. So, and here the special effect of this Kali Yuga, which other times there was only Nam Sankirtan, but this time with the Nam and Sankirtan, Mahaprabhu also added the Prem, that Vrindavan Bhaja Prem, that Prem he added in that Nam. So that's what he was, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying. So we are actually so lucky, by mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We are seeing a little glimpse of Prabhupada's disciples when we chant with them together. So actually, I want to just add one more thing. One time, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu was saying that one Srila Prabhupada is enough to do the Nama Prem Yugadharma Nam Sankirtan. One COVID is enough to kill all the demons. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that again, that Mahaprabhu's purpose was different. And Jugadharma Nam Sankirtan was just incident. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, back to you. Please add it.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you want to say something? This verse is so poetic. Nama prema mala gathi. With on the string of this mala, he put the holy name, and then he garlanded the entire world. So, and that's the main one of the secondary purpose, but that purpose is so potent for all of us. If it would not have been for Lord Chaitanya, then the whole world, the Africans, Americans, Indians, Russians, Chinese, all different background, different colors of skin, different, people, different taste, different diversity, but they're all chanting, coming together, because Lord Chaitanya has garlanded this holy name all across the material world. So, and given actually special instruction, Bharata Bhumi te janma, janma sartha kare karo paropkar. Having taken birth in this Bharata Bhumi may refer to multiple things. In one way, the whole world refers to Bharat Bhumi. In one way, the Indian subcontinent refers to Bharat Bhumi. The point is, everyone should do one's best to take this and also to share it with others to the best of one's ability. So, even amongst the Chandalas, actually, very important point. He didn't give the Sankirtana to like the Brahmanas only, or aristocratic people only, or any designation. Patra apatra nahi dekhi sthan. He didn't consider who is fit, who is not fit. Even a Chandala. There are so many verses in the Bhagavatam that even a Chandala, one who eats the flesh of a dog, that person, if he takes to the chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra, then he has basically done everything. He doesn't need to go to any tirthas or anything like holy places, because the holy name has entered through the tongue. So very, very special contribution. Okay, let's read the next one. 41 is a long purport, so we can read in two parts maybe. Would someone like to start? Yes. Kirti Mataji, you can start and Shri Prabhu can complete.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, text 41. एई मत भक्त भाव करी अंगीकार आपनी आचारी भक्ति करी ला प्रचार. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this way, assuming the sentiment of devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Purport. When Rupa Goswami met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, Allahabad, he offered his respectful obeisances by submitting that Lord Chaitanya was more magnanimous than any other avatar of Krishna because he was distributing love of Krishna. His mission was to enhance love of Godhead. In the human form of life, the highest achievement is to attain the platform of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya did not invent a system of religion as people sometimes assume. Religious systems are meant to show the existence of God, who is then generally approached as the cosmic order supplier. But Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu transcendental mission is to distribute love of Godhead to everyone. Anyone who accepts God as the Supreme can take to the process of chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa and become the lover of God. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is the most magnanimous. This munificent broadcasting of devotional service is possible only for Krishna himself. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Lakshya, Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has taught the philosophy of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who has surrendered to the Supreme can make further progress by learning to love Him. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement propagated by Lord Chaitanya is especially meant for those who are cognizant of the presence of the Supreme Godhead, the ultimate controller of everything. His mission is to teach people how to dovetail themselves into engagements of transcendental loving service. He is Krishna teaching his own service from the position of a devotee. The Lord's acceptance of the role of a devotee is the eternal form of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Is another of the Lord's wonderful features. A conditioned soul cannot reach the absolute personality of Godhead by imperfect endeavor. And therefore, it is wonderful that Lord Sri Krishna in the form of Lord Gauranga has made it easy for everyone to approach. Swarupa Damodara Goswami has described Lord Chaitanya as Krishna himself, with the attitude of Radharani, or a combination of Radha and Krishna. The intention of Lord Chaitanya is to taste Krishna's sweetness in transcendental love. He does not care to think of himself as Krishna because he wants the position of Radharani. We should remember this. A class of so-called devotees called the Nadia Nagaryas or Gaura Nagaryas pretend that they have the sentiment of gopis toward Lord Krishna, but they do not realize that he placed himself not as the enjoyer Krishna, but as the enjoyer, the devotee of Krishna. The concoctions of unauthorized persons pretending to be bona fide have not been accepted by Lord Chaitanya. Presentations such as those of the Gaura Nagaryas are only disturbances to the sincere execution of the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is undoubtedly Krishna himself, and he is always non-different from Srimati Radharani. But emotion technically called Vipralamba Bhava, which the Lord adopted for confidential reasons, should not be disturbed in the name of service. A mundaner should not unnecessarily intrude into affairs of transcendence and thereby displease the Lord. One must always be on guard against this sort of devotional anomaly. A devotee is not meant to create disturbances to Krishna. As Srila Rupa Goswami has explained, devotional service is anuklayana, or favorable to Krishna. Acting unfavorably towards Krishna is not devotion. Kamsa was the enemy of Krishna. He always thought of Krishna, but he thought of him as an enemy. One should always avoid such unfavorable so-called service. Lord Chaitanya has accepted the role of Radharani, and we should support that position. As Swarupa Damodar did in the Gambhira, the room where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Puri, he always reminded Lord Chaitanya of Radha's feelings of separation as they are described in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Lord Chaitanya appreciated his assistance. But the Gaura Nagaryas, who placed Lord Chaitanya in the position of the enjoyer and themselves as is enjoyed, are not approved by Lord Chaitanya or by Lord Chaitanya's followers. Instead, by being blessed, the foolish imitators are left completely apart. Their concoctions are against the principles of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. The doctrine of transcendental enjoyment by Krishna cannot be mixed up with the doctrine of transcendental feelings of separation from Krishna in the role of Radharani. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Kirti Mataji and Lakshay Prabhu, for reading this wonderful verse. Assuming the sentiment of a devotee. So, very, very important point. Bhakta bhav. What did he do? Apani acharya bhakti karila prachar. He preached by his example, by practice. Apani acharya. There are a lot of verses which talk about this point. Apani acharya prabhu jevera sikhai. So preaching is by example, by practice. Anyone knows which verse Rupa Goswami quoted for Lord Chaitanya, or coined for Lord Chaitanya's most magnanimous?
Namo Mahavadanyaya. That verse.
Yes. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaur Tushe Namaha. On the banks of the Shashwamedh Ghat near the Prayag Sangam. So I was fortunate to go to that wonderful holy place. If you go to Prayag, it's right there. It's not very far. It's not a very known place because not many people kind of. There's a small temple there, but not many people go. They'll go to Prayag. But the Gaudiya Vaishnavas go to this place. So if you're going to Allahabad, you must go to the Shashwamedh Ghat, where the Lord instructed actually Rupa Goswami for 10 days, and Rupa Goswami coined this word, and Prabhupada has given this mantra in our offering, Bhoga offering prayers as well. So very important point here. And Prabhupada, then the rest of the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that one should not follow the so-called imitators, so-called devotees, Nadya Nagaris, Gaura Nagaris, Apasampradaya, or not following the real mood of Lord Chaitanya as the enjoyed. Very important point. So they do not realize that he placed himself not as the enjoyer, but as the enjoyed. So artificially imitating gopis and all that stuff, wearing dress as a gopis, or dressing, wearing sari and all that. Sometimes there are places in India where men dress as gopis, putting sari, putting bangles and stuff. We are Krishna's gopis. So gopi is not by wearing a gopi dress. One doesn't become a gopi. Gopi dress is not that expensive, maybe 1,000 rupees, maybe more expensive one, maybe 2,000, 5,000. What? Just putting some bangles and gopi dress will not make one gopi. But to develop that sentiment, to develop that mood of unalloyed bhakti, we're willing to do anything for Krishna. Favorable mood. Not like Kamsa, not like Ravana. Although we have read in the Bhagavatam multiple verses that they are also considered as, in one way, devotees or servants, because they're always thinking about Krishna, but in a wrong mood. But we have to follow the examples in the Anukul mood, in the favorable mood, like Mata Yashoda, thinking always of Krishna. Today morning only I was thinking, I was hearing one nice class. that in the Samudra Manthan, both the demigods and the demons, they had a agenda. Their effort was not selfless. Their effort was selfish. Why? To get the nectar. Samudra Manthan, Amrit, to get the nectar. But when Mata Yashoda is doing Manthan, Dadi Nirmanthana Kali, when the gopis are doing Manthan of yoga, trying to extract butter, they have only one purpose, and that is to make this fine butter so Krishna can come and steal, so Krishna can play with it, so Krishna can honor it, so Krishna can do his wonderful mischievous pastimes with it. That was the only reason they would churn. So I really like that short, wonderful lesson over there. So again, the point is anukul, not in a negative way, and not to disturb the mood of the Lord, not to imitate any so-called devotees, but rather we have to follow the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is come as Bhakta Avatar, Bhakta Bhav. Any other comments anyone has? No?